Welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. We had some wonderful events last time with Rin. Surprising events, but wonderful events. Let's get back into this. Oh, another transition here. The afternoon classes are always longer than those in the morning. This is true regardless of whether I count it by the minute or by the number of doodles drawn in my notebook. It is no good to skyrock in class, my man. Today I'm especially distracted as I keep thinking about Rin. Did I manage to properly tell her that I want to get better? Did she understand a word of what I was saying? I think about the kiss we shared and what it means. She was so out of her mind. Maybe it means nothing, but we've been getting closer lately. What does that mean? What does all of this mean? I think about Rin more and more nowadays. I wonder if she thinks about me. The ringing of bells makes me flinch, and then I realise I haven't been paying attention during the latter half of the class at all. I look at the assortments of sketches travelling up and down the margins of my notebook. The only thing I got done in the last hour. Feeling vaguely disappointed in myself, I pick up and get to the hallway. You should do sketches in your spare time, not during class when you need to focus the most. Rin is standing right outside the door. Her presence stopping me in my tracks as soon as I spot her. Her posture is relaxed as always, but I feel like I just ate a crowbar. I'm having a hard time meeting her gaze. She doesn't seem to have any trouble looking at me, but those dark eyes are making me feel flustered for no reason. It's hard to look straight at her, so I turn my face away a little. I don't know what one should say in this kind of situation. Then again, I rarely know what to say to Rin in any given situation. Hi? Hello. I try to get rid of the awkwardness in my voice and invoke a more natural way of speaking. I suddenly worry about where I should put my hands. It feels like they're in the way somehow. How are you feeling? You were pretty out of it yesterday. I'm okay. What do you mean? You don't remember? She tilts her head to the side like a bird, looking somewhat confused. Remember what? I have a pretty bad memory. About yesterday. What about yesterday? I came to see you and... I don't remember that kind of thing happening. She really doesn't remember. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I feel disheartened at the same. All the same. I remember that I promised to show you one place, though. Did that happen for real? Yeah, the forest. Maybe I just think that I remember that and I really don't. No, that was real too. Okay, do you want to go? Now? Yeah. Well, sure, why not? Is it far? It's not. Together we walk downstairs and then outside. The usual summer day. Whirling cancadas and all. Greets us. It's immensely hot, and without the air conditioning the classroom offers, I start sweating immediately. We start along the tree-lined pathway that leads towards the dorms. The cherry trees offer shade, with the sunlight blinking through the holes in the canopy. The light creates a chaotic pattern of shadows dappled with bright places where the beams hit the pavement. Rin's eyes are wandering every direction but mine. I get the feeling that it's intentional. She leads me to the back gate once more, taking us through it and into the forest beyond. As before, the dropping temperature and the drastically reduced levels of light makes it feel like the forest has swallowed us in its cavernous belly. We head uphill along the same path as last time, sneaking around trees and boulders, over roots and rocks, past wild undergrowth, birds seen somewhere in the woods, soloists for the humming background music of the treetops. We go past a small clearing with a big maple that is now called the worry tree. The climb steepens, then becomes easier again. I have to stop a few times to catch my breath and hurry after Rin, who doesn't stop to wait for me. Soon I'm out of breath again. Suddenly the trees end, and we emerge from the forest. The boundary of the woods is sharp and abrupt, as though a line had been drawn to mark it. We haven't seen the CG before of the woods. The hill continues to climb up a little further ahead, but from here to the top it's a rocky meadow. Patches of grass and small bushes that look like they are grown straight from the rock. We soon reach the highest point of the highest hill of the highest mountain top. with the forest behind us and a view to every direction open in front of our eyes. The city lies far below and away, lazily reveling in a quiet afternoon mood. You can see pretty far from here, and the vista is beautiful. I wonder how high up we are. Altitude measuring. I breathe the fresh air and feel my heart rate slowly going back down. I think I might have overdone it a bit. A higher pulse is dangerous for me. I'm feeling fine right now, though. The wind picks up, ruffling my hair and causing the trees below us to sway. It makes the grass undulate in waves as the breeze sweeps across the hilltop. Sun shines from the open skies upon us, a few clouds passing by to shadow it. What was painful heat before is now gentle warmth. I take a good look around. The hilltop is pretty in the way nature often is. Unplanned harmony found in the natural arrangement of things. The most striking feature is the abundance of small yellow flowers. They're literally everywhere in the small meadow. I can't help commenting on it. I was about to say commentating on it. Wow, a lot of flowers. Yeah, do you know this kind? They all fly away. Yeah, dandelions. There are not many of them at the school because they cut the grass so often. Nobody cuts grass up here. I wonder why in the middle of the forest. The fragile-looking flowers will soon turn white and fluffy like cotton, and the wind will carry their seeds away to their next destination in life. I crouch down to look at one tiny yellow flower, silently basking in the sunlight. There's not a hint of white yet, so it's still waiting for its time to be fulfilled. Brush my fingers against the delicate yellow petals. Feel the soft texture in my fingertips. It feels nostalgic somehow. I hear Rin approaching from behind and stand back up to face her. She has a weird look on her face. Something on your mind? I don't know. It's just... you just look so sad all the time and become upset so easy, and it makes me confused, and I really don't remember much about yesterday except that you came to my room, and that's why it might be because of me. So if it's because of me, I think that I know why. It's because people don't really like talking to me, and you might be the same, and that would be sad. I know that people and I... Oh my god, this is a long statement without any full stops or commas, but I think she is trying to slur all of this out in one go. Right, where was we? Talking to me and you might be the same, and that would be sad. I know that people and I'm talking about others. Then Emmy too always say that I'm strange and that I talk strange things, so I thought I'd try not to say strange things, but that just makes me think more and new and strange and colourful. That was not a good word, but maybe you understand anyway. And odd things, so if I want to say something, I don't really know how, and then the words are not the same as before. It's because something goes wrong on the way out, but it's not like the thoughts are really the thing I should be saying. It's more like the idea of a thought, or the thing of the idea, or the idea of a thing, but it's not really any of those either, because there is no word for it unless I invent a new one, which is not really useful. So I've been thinking of doing things better than saying so. Maybe because yesterday I took those pills and I was feeling a little strange, I might have done something that I shouldn't. Besides, I don't even know if it would be any better if I just could say the thought. There is no telepathy. That's real telepathy, isn't there? I think it would be terrible and useful at the same time, but right now I wouldn't mind, because misunderstanding is so easy, but understanding is not. And I thought... I gasped at her shoulder and squeezed hard to make her stop. I don't have the capacity to take all that in at once. Rin shuts up instantly. Take a breath. I'm not upset. Why would I be? I'm just a little confused. But it's alright. I wonder if I was making a face she doesn't like again. I guess I've been thinking about yesterday all the time. Maybe I looked weird. I wish I had a mirror with me at all times. That was a huge sentence to keep up with. That was all one line, without commas and full stops. He was just saying a lot of words. It's, oh gosh, it's like, what's the first thing that comes to your head? But don't think about it. Just say the first thing that comes into your head. And you just trail on and on and on and on without stopping, going here, going there, stuff like that. No need to get it all said at once. I'll listen, even if you talk slower. It just came out. Okay, yeah, that's one way of putting it. Sorry, I'm okay now. I just want to say something. I don't mean that much. That was the most amount that you said. I think that's the most amount that most people would say. It's weird, isn't it? She looks at me with a surprisingly timid expression, one that I haven't seen before. I can't help but laugh a little. Yeah, it's weird. You are a pretty weird person, but there's nothing wrong with it. Thanks for being worried about me, but I'm going to get better. I told you that yesterday, but I guess you don't remember that either. I don't. I wonder what else I forgot. Hopefully nothing important like my own name. That'd be terrible. Okay, so what is your name? Well, you kissed me. I did? Yeah, you did. On the lips. I try and sound as matter of fact as I can, but I worry that I might be blushing again. Did you kick me? I did not kick you. No, why would I do that? Then it's all good, right? It's okay, right? I didn't forget my name. Yes, okay, so what is your name, Rin? Oh, I shouldn't have said that because that defeats the purpose. I could have said a false name, actually. I wish I was more savvy so that I could come up with a better follow-up to that. But nothing comes to mind. It's a good thing that Rin has more to say. It makes me feel relieved somehow. I think I should say sorry. I'm really bad with people. Some things are hard to understand. Like jellyfish. Do you understand jellyfish? I do not. I guess not. People are like jellyfish to me. I don't understand. So what is it about jellyfish that you don't understand? Their colours, their nature, the way that they sting you. Now it's her turn to make a face I don't really like seeing. I never really had friends. What about me? What about Emmy? That is a very strange conundrum, isn't it now? Very difficult, but... What about... Hold on, let's say first, because that's what we should always do when it comes to a multiple choice scenario. Progress shaved on... Yep, the correct one. What about me? Nah, I'm your friend, for one. I mean, think about it. We already talk a lot to each other, and we've even gotten upset about at each other and then forgiven the other for it. That's what we call friendship. It's really nice of you to say that. I have always been able to tell everything to pencils and paints and paper. They are my best friends. It is harder with people. I have to use words. That is hard for me. Yeah, I know. You've told me. And how you forget. Rin nods at me wordlessly and I dare to attempt showing her a little encouraging smile. I open to it properly. She doesn't reply in any way. I feel really glad. The distance Rin puts between herself and everything else has made me feel really uneasy since I met her. If we become real friends, I'm sure I could understand her more. I'm sure that this way we could close the gap of understanding between us. My thoughts don't transmit to Rin. She seems lost in thought. Again, wandering amidst the sea of yellow flowers covering the grassy hilltop. It's just as well. So tell me why the sky is perfect. What, you're saying that you haven't told us why the sky is perfect? Time passes, the breeze making the taller grass sway gently in time with the wind. Rin hums a little song to herself so quietly that I can't tell what it is. If it's even anything at all. Don't mean to bully her at all when it comes to forgetting things. Like, we all forget things. But Rin forgets things more often than most people. A stronger gust sweeps over the hilltop, and the sound of the trees and the wind buries the sun away. I check my watch, more out of habit more than anything else. It's 4:30 right now, on this Saturday afternoon. Rin looks into the distant horizon with that odd blank stare of hers, as if she were looking at nothing at all. Her pupils are dark and quiet like a pair of deep still ponds. You are going to become better, right? I said that earlier, I said that yesterday, and I said that the day before. Sure. Me too, you know. I'm going to talk to that friend of the teacher and ask her to put my stuff in her place and work hard to get all that done. I decided that just now, you know, but I think I knew it all along. I've had this thing for a long time, that I'm going to change. Even if I hate it and don't want it, even if I wanted to, I would change. Like I'm not enough the way I am. I think this could be a good way to do it because it's like a straight line. Like I've learned all the things in my life so far just with this. It's just art. It's not just art. And it's the only thing I really know. Art is not the only thing that you know. I know what I'm going to do. Yes, you know what you're going to do. So it's good. I'm not afraid at all. Never be afraid. But of course, don't be too cocky. Otherwise, you are overestimating your own abilities. I feel like I always do. Is that weird? No, not at all. And you close your eyes. I close my eyes and give in to the irresistible sensation that has been growing inside me all week long. I float up towards the surface of my own life. The pressure of being underwater slowly diminishes. The weightless sensation becomes stronger. I break the surface of the water, lifting my head into the sunlight and inhale deeply, breathing in fresh air as if for the first time in a long, long while. Hey, my lungs fill with oxygen, and I open my eyes to see Rin's peaceful, determined face. And then we walk down the slope carefully and slowly to avoid falling down, Rin in the lead and me a few steps behind. Rin surely can do this. Even if she can't, she's going to pull through. I'm sure that I can keep my head above water too, from now on. The sun sets behind our back, setting the world ablaze in its orange glow. I keep watching the back of the red-haired girl descending the path a few steps ahead of me. If there's only this much, the distance between us is definitely within my reach. For what exactly? Oh, another scene? Act 3. Distance. Distance of what? It was another scene, not distance, it was called something else. I asked you a question, Nakai. I shake my head to fend off the dazedness. The teacher's looking at me, as is everyone else in the class. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. What's the distance between... Never mind, different question. Why are you here in this class? To learn about physics? Well, yes, well, no, but that's the answer I wanted to hear. To acquire knowledge is a secondary reason for you being in the school. The primary one is to learn the rules of society, the norms and ethics that govern your everyday life. You don't come to school for the classes, you come to interact with the other people there, your classmates who are equals and the teachers who are your superiors. You learn how to form social contacts and maintain them. In other words, how to be a part of society. The school itself is a microcosm of the entire society. Loki was one who realized that, you know. School is not just a place for learning, and for all the kids your age, you guys should know that better than anyone else. He paused for a moment and let his eyes sweep over the class to see if the message sink in. At the very least, it shut everyone up and got them to focus on him, captivated either by his voice or the sudden change of topic from physics to philosophy of education. However, my classes, as you so aptly put, are a place for learning about physics. He points at me with a piece of chalk he's holding. So, no sleeping during class. Got it, Nakai? Yes, sir. From the corner of my eye, I catch Shizune's scowl and Misha's barely contained giggle. I sink deeper into my seat. At the class's end, I'm the last one to leave the classroom. I close the door behind me and quietly make my way to the art room. Club time passes in relative peace and quiet. I sit in my usual seat next to Rin, but she doesn't seem to be in a talkative mood. She's even more distant than usual. Today we're going to draw a still life, and you get to choose from either a vase full of fake flowers or an arrangement of rocks, sticks, and canvases. The teacher encouraged us to gather around the preferred motif, emphasizing perspective, texture, and lighting as the key points of this exercise. I look at Rin to see if she prefers one of the subjects over the other, but she just tilts her head, signifying nothing. The club members quickly shuffle their chairs around the classroom to get close to either the vase or the clutter. Rin and I both pick the flower vase, but only one of us seems to do any work. She's ignoring Yamaya's assignment just like she suddenly started ignoring me, and has begun doodling something idly with her foot, not really even looking at what she's drawing. I try to catch her gaze, but she's looking out of the window. It's making me feel uneasy. Rin almost looks like she's asleep with the way she's leaning back against the chair with her legs resting easily on the desk. She's now completely given up on the drawing. The more I try to relax, ignore her and just be myself, the more it feels like I should ask if something's wrong. Maybe you should do just that. After the club activities are over and others have filed out, Rin gets up from her seat and marches over to Nomaya with unusual determination. I will do it. Nomaya, who is humming to himself while sorting a box of pencils by hardness, turns around with a mixed expression of frankest incomprehension on his face. What will you do, my gal? The gallery person. I can talk with that person. At least yesterday I thought I could. And today too. I think I want to try it. I'm going to go all the way. The widest smile I've ever seen on any person's face lights up the teacher's features. He is almost literally beaming. Oh, wonderful! I had almost lost hope. Such a hard-headed girl you are, but I knew that sooner or later you'd understand as well. I will call my good friend Shinoji, arrange a meeting. You'll need to show her your work so she can estimate it. I've told her about you, but obviously you should talk face to face. This is so exciting, isn't it? Nomaya is talking more to himself than to us and walking in circles around his desk, waving his hands around wildly all the while. And guess what? Rin has painted all of these using her feet. He picks up his cell phone from the breast pocket of his jacket and flips it open with a stylish movement, starting to look for the number to call. While he searches, he notices me staring and gives me a beaming thumbs up. I shrug back at him, doing my best to not look smug. Nomaya finds the number and makes the call, turning away from us and lowering his voice once it goes through. Even the I can hear his excited tone. The call doesn't last long. Fabulous! Say he's at the gallery right now and said we could stop by right away if that's fine. This is most excellent. Do you have some kind of portfolio to show, Rin? She just shakes her head at the question. Never fear, I've taken some photos of your paintings. We can bring those and maybe a couple of originals with us. Those will be quite sufficient for now. There should be some recent ones around here in the back, right? Let's see, he pulls out a folder full of photos out of a desk drawer, then charges towards the back where there's a small storage room and extra cabinets for all the materials and tools the art classes and club use. He soon finds what he was looking for and crudely wraps two of Rin's paintings in some brown packing paper. Nakai, will you carry these to my car? I pick up the two oil paintings. They are heavy, but they do make navigation somewhat cumbersome as I follow Nomaya and Rin to the parking lot. Yes, it's not always about the weight, but it's about the size of them. Nomaya has a pretty nice car. Not saying I expect a high school teacher to drive. I wonder what kind of salaries they earn at Yamaku. The canvases are stuffed into the trunk, where they just barely fit. As the teacher's over-enthusiastic prompting, I get in the car I'm on with them. Rin answers my questioning stare with a confirming nod and a nonchalant shrug. I guess I've become some sort of assistant for her for now. Not for now. Nomaya doesn't go light and pedal. The smooth ride takes just about 10 minutes to bring us to the city centre, where we pull into a tiny parking lot and get out of the car. I pick up the painters again, looking around. It's just like any city in Japan. Really. Same style of buildings, people hurrying here and there, office workers sweating in their suits in the summer heat. and obviously you can tell that their shirts are different coloured, patches of sweat on them. Wide, tree-lined streets aren't something you see everywhere though. Maybe they are this city speciality. It definitely has that feel of a city, which I thought I had already forgotten. I feel immediately comfortable walking around. I haven't actually been here before. No? In that case, it's about time. It's a great city, lots of wonderful folk around here, and most important of all, a vibrant cultural life. Ah, Say's place is just around the corner. 22nd corner. Okay, after turning around 3 more corners, Namaya stops in front of a door. There's a nameplate in big red letters over it. 22nd corner. And is this really the 22nd corner? Of what? That's bothering me too. I mean, where to start counting? And which way do you count? I think it's just a name of something. Don't be too philosophical about the actual questioning of the name behind it. Like, I could be called FlareBlitzed 420. But anyways, Rin gets worked up over the strangest means. Unlike me, Namaya ignores her completely and pushes the door open. Let's see, the gallery is very clean looking and the air conditioning makes it cool and very comfortable. The white walls and big windows facing onto a busy street make the whole place feel airy and bright. There's nobody around whom I can see. However, most of the floor space is empty, with only a few large tables and a counter for furniture. There are paintings too, of course. A poster advertises an exhibition for an artist I've never heard of. Most of his works seem to be portraits or landscapes done in a more traditional style than Rin's abstraction. Summoned by the bell of the door, a lady who looks maybe around Namaya's age. I would say younger, but then again she does probably have her hair dyed. She dressed in a sharp suit, her straight dark hair in a perfect ponytail behind her head. A pair of flashy, expensive-looking eyeglasses frames her eyes. On second glance, I'm not sure of her age anymore. She looks old and yet not actually old. You shouldn't judge people their ages, especially women. Women do not like to have their ages pointed out after all. And yes, I'm fiddling with my glasses. Hello. Sai, hello. She clearly recognizes the teacher, greeting him warmly. Oh, there you are, Senji, and so quickly. I take it that these two are your students. Indeed. Let me introduce you. This is Rin Tezuka, the one I spoke to you about, and the healthy-looking lad over there is Hisao Nakai. I'm not healthy like you think I am. She takes a long, hard look at both of us, especially Rin. It feels like we're being evaluated. That a worth of some abstract kind is being calculated for us. Her eyes linger for a long time on Rin. On her eyes, her empty sleeves tied in knots. Her posture. Sei takes her first impression of Rin with an intensity I've not seen used by anyone else before. Once finished, she smiles amiably. Pleased to meet you both. My name is Sei Seonji, and I'm the owner of this gallery. Could I maybe offer you some tea? Oh no, thank you. We're fine. Let's get down to business. I lay the paintings on a tabletop to give the gallery owner a better view, and Namaya pulls out his folder of photos. The old lady studies Rin's work carefully, absent-mindedly blushing her cheek with her fingers while letting her gaze sweep over the paintings. Her eyes remind me of a bird of prey of some sort, but so sharp and somehow very calculating. She takes her time. Of course, with these things, you gotta take your time. There's no need to rush, and there's no sense to rush. She's slowly going over the paintings in order without uttering a single word. Even the teacher looks very nervous. He tries to point out certain details and other things about Rin's work, but it seems like she's not listening. She is razor-sharp focused on the evaluating of the paintings themselves. While Namaya and I keep looking at Sei, trying to look for some hint of a reaction on the gallery owner's face, Rin lets her gaze wander around the gallery space. Suddenly she pipes up. Is this really the time to question the name of the business? Is this really the 22nd? Say raises her gaze from the paintings to look at Rin, but doesn't answer. It's probably for the best. She takes stock of Rin's slouchy posture and her dreamy eyes that are again moving restlessly about. The way Rin seems to be detached from a situation that's supposed to be very important for her annoys me just a little. I'm practically holding my breath here. After Sei has gone through all of Namaya's photos and inspected the 2 oil paintings I hold here, she goes through all the material again, this time at a quicker pace. Finally, she gives her verdict. I like it. Though, if you don't mind me saying, you're still a bit immature, searching for your own direction perhaps. She picks up one of the photos. Still, just look at this one. I just can't take my eyes off it, like a little kitten playing around. That's what makes your art makes me feel, young lady. Thank you, I think. Nobody's ever said that before, I think. That's all that Rin has to say. Something about what the owner gallery says and how she makes it. She says it makes it sound patronizing to me, but I hold my tongue. Anyway, what a wonderful imagination though, isn't it? I've always said that Tezuka has great eye for composition and colour harmony, and technique. Remember, all these are done with her feet. Of course, we'd need to put some of the simpler ones on display too, for the lay people, right, Sei? The teacher snorts derisively. You know how these Philistines are. What do they understand about real art? They just be at a loss with the abstractions and themes here. But it'll generate more publicity, and that's good, isn't it? Sei smiles gently at Namaya's remark and turns back to the paintings. I wonder. To tell you the truth, I just don't know if all this makes an exhibition. Even if I like it, I don't get the feel of a theme or cohesion. There is no ovary, and really, who would expect such a young artist like the kitten here? Oh, no, it's definitely doable, especially if we get a few new pieces and touch up some old ones. I don't mind painting more. I'll do anything. It's a bit of a stretch. Trust me, I wouldn't have come to you if I didn't believe Tezuka was ready. You can see it too, can't you? I know exactly what her kind is capable of, and you know too. Those words give the gallerist lady a pause. A hollow, bottomless look takes over her eyes for a moment, as if she was looking through or maybe past Namaya. She says nothing, but her mouth becomes a tight, flat line, as if stretched. Finally, the moment passes. Is that what you're saying? That's what I'm saying. Sei sighs and takes a few steps, walking in a circle as if to help organize her thoughts. She takes another look at the photo of the painting she particularly liked, the one that made her call Rin a kitten. She places her hand over her mouth, lost for words. After a few moments, she shakes her head. I don't know what to say. After seeing you, dear, and these paintings of yours, would you excuse us for a moment? I want to talk to your teacher in private for a bit. If I were to guess, I feel like these abstractions lack a consistency in their theme. Sei draws the art teacher aside, and they talk in hushed tones for a while. I can't hear what they are saying, but over her shoulder I can see the lines around the corners of her mouth tighten as she motions with her hands in time with her words. The expression on her face is... what kind of expression is it? I couldn't say. Once they're done discussing whatever they have to discuss, they give one another a serious look. I feel something that goes beyond mere words transpiring there. They walk back to us. Sei looks seriously at Rin, her left hand reaching as if instinctively towards a pack of cigarettes that's lying on the table. She picks a pack up and extracts one, looks at it absent-mindedly as if only now realizing she did so, and puts it back. Finally, she locks eyes with Rin, evaluating her once more. Alright, little kitten, I'm going to believe in you. I'll display your paintings in here, but for what I can see, this is not enough. You don't really have a cohesive theme, and you don't have enough of the good stuff. Say, define what is the good stuff. You're going to have to work hard to actually get something that we can put on exhibit here. I know. It's a good thing my gallery is so small, no? Rin already spends pretty much every 3 waking moments she has painting. How is it possible to work any harder? She'd have to skip class to do more than she already does, and how can anyone work that much? Silence falls in the galleries after my word. Sei looks at the art teacher, who is looking contemplatively at his star student. I look at all 3 of them, confused. It's doable. What do you mean? I mean the school is special. The board puts great value on things such as this. I'm sure I can arrange some leave for her. It's not unprecedented by any means. I'll discuss it with her parents too, but they've been quite supportive. However, it might be a bit of a stretch to get working space for her at the school if she's not actually going to attend classes. Actually, I was thinking this before. Do you use a place upstairs for anything? No, I don't. Haven't since back then. It's more like a landfill than an atelier now. Upstairs? I own a small atelier apartment on the top floor of this building, but hasn't been in use for... Goodness, it's been so long, hasn't it? Her eyes lap to Namaya, who has a strange, muted expression on his face. I think I get what he's getting at. Indeed, do you think even Namaya in all his brashness has trouble coming straight out with the question? Sei of course sees through him and throws up her hands, sighing deeply. I guess I can't say no, can I? Very well, I'll lend you the use of that place as well. If needed, it's not like I really need it. Really use it. Excellent! I knew I could count on you. Don't celebrate yet. It really is a mess, so don't be shocked when you first see it. However, you can use it as you see fit. Since it's an atelier, it already has easels and things like that. You'll only need your own tools and materials, and to somehow clean it up a bit. It is not habitable though, so I can't let you live there. I doubt your school or parents would allow that in any case. Okay. However, it's convenient to crash there overnight if necessary. I won't mind. Most excellent, isn't it, Tezuka? He enthusiastically pats Rin on the shoulder, laughing in relief and happiness as if all this good fortune landed on him personally. Sei smiles as well, perhaps more amused by the old teacher's glee than anything else. Oh dear, Shinichi, this really is like back then. Are you sure we all haven't bitten off more than we can chew? She looks at Rin, who seems to be oddly subdued despite all this. I hope it will be worth it, kitten. She holds out her hand as if to shake Rin's, but realizes the impossibility and quickly moves to pat her on the shoulder. Rin looks back at her silently, her eyes serious and impenetrable like the dark of the night. Where is this going to go? Of all places. Because if this is going to be the case, then we need to stay behind at school while she has more time at the atelier. Rin applies for and, thanks to Maya pressuring the principal, I'm sure, is granted leave for the rest of the term for exceptional extracurricular activities. She has to make up for it during summer vacation, but it seems she doesn't mind. Rin will still be able to eat and sleep at school, of course. She just doesn't have to go to classes. I'm not entirely sure if I envy her or not. It all makes me feel anxious somehow. It's the last day of school for Rin. I feel like I should send her off with a word of encouragement, or at least say something. It was sort of due to my influence that she decided to dive headfirst into this after all. My class ends a good 20 minutes early, so I walk down to the library and buy a can of juice, then sit down on the bench and wait for Rin. I pull out a novel from my bag and search for the place where I was. Time stretches comfortably over the warm afternoon while I idly sip my orange juice and read a few chapters of the book. The plot doesn't seem to advance at all, but it's all the same for me. And here comes the crowd, for goodness sakes. We always love a crowd, don't we now? The bell rings the end of the school day, and students shuffle to club meetings or outside. Nobody notices me, sitting on a bench with my nose in the novel. I keep watch for Rin, but I don't see her familiar face or red-tinted hair passing by. Where could she be? I check my watch 20 minutes past the end of class, when the lobby is all but emptied of people again. Either Rin should have already managed to get out of class, but either I missed her walking by, or she never came downstairs. Perhaps she went to the club room for some last-minute things instead, or got held back by her strict homeroom teacher. I haven't really waited that long, but having grown tired of it already, I decided to go find her myself. I stuff my book back in the bag and throw the now empty juice can in a trash bag, then climb upstairs. Don't you dare empty it like other people do outside of the rubbish bin. The hallway is eerily quiet, as if there are no club rooms apart from the art room nearby. I check there first, but not even the teacher is in. Coming back towards the stairwell, I quietly knock on the door of 3-4 and push the door open to peek in. Yellow sunbeams cross the classroom, falling across the floor. The dust and chalk floating slowly in the air makes the light almost palpable. The entire room basks in the gentle light shining through the windows, washing the shadows away. Only one person is inside the classroom. Rin is asleep. Rin sits in what I assume is her seat, next to the window in the 3rd row. Her head rests against the desk. I wonder if she slept through it all. Apparently not even Emmy had the heart, or maybe the capability to wake her up. I close the door quietly, walking past the neat, even rows of desks. I go over to where she sits. What is Rin doing in all of this? Why is you asleep? My mouth is suddenly so dry that the word comes out as a tiny whisper. She doesn't answer, so I set my bag down on the floor next to hers and lean over her to look at her face. Rin's eyes are peacefully closed, the long eyelashes projecting thin shadows onto her cheeks. Her mouth is slightly open, letting me hear the quiet sound of her breathing. Her usually messy hair is even more so today, lying in complete disarray over half of her face and forehead. Her bag is lying at her feet like a forgotten rag doll. A few books and pens have fallen out of it near her seat. The scene makes me smile a little. I touch Rin's head lightly, sweeping a few stray hairs off her ear. Her hair feels warm against my palm. Rin steers, and I retract my hand on reflex, feeling embarrassed for touching her so casually. She looks so vulnerable, like any sleeping person. It's impossible not to feel fondness towards her. I sit on the desktop for whoever is in front of Rin, then drew the window slightly open to get some fresh air in. Hopefully it will wake her up and I won't need to resort to crude methods. She doesn't wake up. I didn't really expect her to. Looking at her makes me feel tired as well. To be honest, I wouldn't mind a quick nap either, but I content myself with leaning against the large window. The glass is warm against my ear and cheek as these windows face west toward the setting afternoon sun. That afternoon light is slowly melting into Rin's auburn hair, softening her outline so that she seems to be fading into her surroundings. The minute twitches of her muscles, her hair swaying in the air current, the even rhythm of her breathing, it all gives a strong impression of a dreaming girl. Like all sleeping people, Rin looks like she is away from this world in some distant dream country. With her, it doesn't feel so obvious that she would ever come back. She seems so detached from her surroundings, even when she's awake. In fact, she has this same kind of air around her when the realization hits my consciousness without warning. Rin sometimes looks like that when she is painting. Her focused expression gives the same feeling of being on the other side of some imaginary gap as looking at her sleeping face does. I almost said photoed rather than focused. I feel a pain in my chest. There's no way I could close that gap to be on the same level with her. It hurts, even though I know that it's impossible for any two people to truly understand each other. Are you sure about that one? But Rin, she's almost literally in another world when she's talking about art, thinking about art, or making art. It's a world that I, or anyone else really, can't share with her, just like the world of dreams. Rin still doesn't show any sign of waking up, so I'm faced with the decision to either rouse her myself, or wait for her to awaken on her own. I choose the latter. Waiting is something I am good at. I found that out during my hospitalisation, but even the hospital ward was more lively than the school after classes are over. The only sound in this place are the loud ticking of the clock above the door and the distant voices of students down on the grounds. A genuine summer breeze blows inside from the window I cracked open, full of warmth and carrying the scent of light. Any breeze on a hot summer day is wonderful. I look outside to see where it came from, but I'm dazzled almost instantly. The window glass seems to trap all the sunlight within, making it painful to look that way. All I can glimpse through the window are the dark silhouettes of the trees and the wall around the campus against the setting sun's radiance. As I turn back to watch Rin, she stares again. Whoa! A single tear worms down from the corner of her eye, slowly making its way across her face before it falls onto the desk. Why the cry? Is there something you dream about that's making you teary? It's tiny, barely a droplet, but it captivates me. Another tear follows the first, and then a third. A feeling of anxiety overcomes me, petrifying me on the spot. It's so strange, seeing Rin's face peaceful as she sleeps, at the same time as tears stream down her cheeks, wetting the wooden desktop she rests her head on. I don't know what to do, so I do nothing, and just watch the tears roll one by one down her face. I wonder what she's dreaming about. Rin wakes up after one final flinch, or perhaps because of the tears. She sits upright and yawns so excessively that it looks like her jaw might dislocate. She notices my presence, but her reaction is more like the lacking of any reacting at all. It's just an acknowledgement, no startled gasp or anything. Hello. Good morning. She's so groggy, she can't even return my smile that I somehow can't stretch, to be entirely honest. Rin notices her wet cheeks and quickly wipes them off of the shoulders of her shirt. It seems she isn't at all surprised or flustered by them. You cried in your sleep? A bad dream? No, it's nothing like that. It's something I've learned to do from other people. It's a funny story, I'll tell you later. On second thought, not really that funny at all. I guess I won't tell you. Did you want something, or did you just come watch me sleep? I want to see you after classes. Well, it's after classes now, and I am seeing you right here. Yeah, I just wanted to say good luck or something. I figure the upcoming weeks are going to be a lot of work for you. Thanks. Rin yawns again and blinks a few times. I feel weird. Didn't really sleep much last night at all. Butterflies in your stomach? What? No, I mean yes. I know what that means, butterflies. Don't really feel so good now. It'll be fine. You are so confident. Someday it will bite you in the ear. Why the ear? It usually is biting at your back. Or punching at your back. Or something on your back anyways. I look forward to it. I think I have to go. I promised Mrs. Sayoji that I'd go there straight after school. And now it's after school. Is it okay if I come by sometime? I'm guessing you're planning to work for long hours, so if you prefer to avoid distractions. It's okay. It's not a distraction. Not like Emmy. Don't bring her with you, though. I wouldn't like that this time. What? You told her to stay away? Like, that's a bit mean. I see. Alright then. Rin stands up and silently walks to the door with me following behind. The school's empty hallways, devoid of the usual crowd of students, feel very lonely. It's only a few hours since school ended, but the building seems to be all but deserted. Our footsteps are all that intrudes upon the stillness of the hallways. The change is sudden, but it shows how the building is just an empty shell, dead without its students and teachers to liven it up. It's like the school has become a private world for just the two of us, a desolate place filled with silence and chalk dust. I am going to change. She says this out of the blue while we walk down the stairs from the 3rd floor, and it makes me wonder how she views this challenge that lies ahead of her. That's what people must do sometimes. That's the last thing we say to each other that day, even though there's so much that we could talk about. And even those words drown in the all-encompassing silence, disappearing into the stagnant air as if they were never said. These next few weeks are going to be a bit quiet for us at school. Unless, of course, we spend time with Emmy. And actually, I'm wondering about that. We've never seen Lily or Hanako at all. Like, for ages. Like, ever since the incident where we could tell Lily where we're kind of fragile-hearted, or we could have just gone down the other route, saying that I'm just out of breath and we could continue onwards. I'm not sure what that would do. That could be like another bad end of sorts. As I think about it now, like overexerting yourself, like with Emmy, but that was kind of like a situation where we impede that upon ourselves. The next Monday is marked by a strange emptiness that grips me, caused by the knowledge that I won't be able to see Rin whenever I want to anymore. This hollow feeling is a little discontorting, but I make it to the afternoon all the same. My last class is, in a word, terrible. It's not that the lesson is that bad, it is however boring, and it's so hot in the classroom I feel like I'm melting. The air conditioning is either broken or turned off, so the windows are open. It makes no difference, since the air outside is completely still. Only the chirping of cicadas carries inside. The sweltering heat permits the room. Students and teachers alike are in an almost delirious state. I just want to stand up and walk out of here without caring what teacher or anyone else says. I can see I'm not the only one with these thoughts too. Next to me, Miss is shamelessly holding her skirt up a bit and fanning air in with her notebook. If I didn't say that properly, it felt like people would think I said another word. Only Shizumi seems to be as cool as always, sitting with her back perfectly straight, arms folded on her chest, her eyes fixed on the equations scrawled on the blackboard. I keep shooting yearning glances at my watch, but it doesn't help the time go by any faster. That is why, it doesn't matter how boring something is, don't look at the clock. Otherwise, you'll waste your time in the class by not looking at what's on the board. It's funny, I remember how badly I wanted to get out of the hospital and go back to school. Now all I can think of is the upcoming summer vacation and freedom from classes and homework. Perhaps it's human nature to think only of the situation at hand. Finally the bell rings. Leave my classmates and I burst out into the hallway already crowded by students from other neighbouring classes. I spot Emmy's diminutive figure nearby and walk up to her. Hey there. She smiles sweetly, clearly happy to see me. Hi Sal, what's up? Is your classroom super hot too? Yeah, it is. I thought I was going to melt in there. Nothing really else is happening though. Feeling a bit weird now that Rin's on her great adventure, whatever you want to call it. Emmy's face cracks in a wider smile and she jumps up and down enthusiastically. Isn't it great? I'm so happy for her. I bet everyone will like her paintings and she'll sell a lot of them and... It's not about money. For goodness sakes. Like, yes, doing art and making a salary is important. But for goodness sakes, when people only do something because of financial benefits, it is really soul draining. And it makes life so disillusioning. Like you're doing it for one purpose and one purpose only, regardless of whether or not you like that hobby or not. Yeah, I'm sure it'll work out great. I'm totally sulking at her though. She huffs angrily and places her hands firmly on her hips, even letting a little anger seep into her voice. It doesn't quite have the impact she's probably hoping for, but I say nothing. Why is that? She said that she doesn't want me to go see her. Oh yeah, she mentioned that. I guess she prefers not to be distracted. I can understand that. I don't think I'm that much of a distraction. Besides, I'm sure she'll forget about sleep and eating properly if someone's not there telling her to do it. Sometimes she's like that, gets completely fixated on whatever and drops everything else. It really makes me worried, you know. Is she going to be alright? Such friendship. I wonder if she thinks I'm annoying. I'm pretty sure that's not the case at all. Emily shakes her head, looking amused. I'm not sure if she's joking or not. She has these weird ideas about a lot of stuff. Things just make sense to her in a totally different way than they do to me. I can't even remember all the weird stuff she's talked about all over this time. I don't think Rin does either, really. She's the type who would forget her own head if it wasn't attached to her shoulders. That's why I just can't leave her alone. Is that weird? She leans against the wall, managing to look distraught, yet still cheerful as always. I get a strange feeling about it, as though I were talking to two people at the same time. How would I know? Everyone's weird in some way, but if that's yours, it's a very nice way. At least I can understand what you're talking about, unlike Rin. Most of the time, I have no idea about what's going on inside her head either. Emmy giggles, nodding in agreement. I think it's okay even if you don't understand her. That's how she usually is. Emmy stands up straighter, brushing the hem of her skirt and straightening the waistline. She laughs awkwardly. Aw, wow, we ended up talking pretty seriously. What's up with you, Hisao? Why'd you bring this up? Oh, sorry, I didn't really mean to get into this sort of discussion either. I don't know. I've had this weird feeling lately about Rin. I don't know why. I feel a bit guilty bringing up something like this for no reason except for my own anxiety. It'll be fine, don't worry about it. Suddenly Emmy clutches my wrist and twists it so she can see what time it is for my watch. Oh damn, this late already. I really should go. There's a meeting with the rest of the track team at the field. It's not going to be fun in this heat. We're going to sweat like pigs, but I promise I'll be there. Bye-bye. That smile is so innocent. She skips downstairs, leaving me wondering if what I said, or what Rin said, rather, hurt her or not. Maybe what Emmy herself said hurt her most, come to think of it. So in the end, even the person closest to Rin is just as far apart from her as everyone else. I wonder if Rin herself ever feels that distance. I felt like I was drifting away from the world too. During my hospitalisation, I felt anxious and depressed, and even now, I sometimes still do, but I fight against it with all I've got. If Rin hasn't been there on that side of the divide for her whole life, I can't imagine how she could not be lonely. But perhaps she's truly different. I refuse to belong to that other place, but maybe she's found comfort there. Like Emmy, I have a club meeting of my own, so I head straight to the art club room at the end of the hallway. Only a few members are present today, so the mood's even more laid back than usual. Rin is off working her exhibition project, but I wonder if the rest are simply just plain hooky, defeated by the heat. I half-assedly sketch something with a piece of graphite, but do a poor job of it. My fingertips are turning pitch black from holding the graphite and smudging it on the paper, accidentally and on... What do you mean, on purpose? And if you're getting smudged, but maybe you're holding the graphite too hard. I've improved a little. Stop comparing yourself to others. This is a marathon, and that marathon involves getting better little by little on all of those 26 different steps. I'm referring to marathoners like Miles and stuff like that. Eventually, Nomaya comes in and makes his way around the room, checking on what we're doing and giving comments on the works in progress. He stops behind me and bends close to look at my poor sketch. Try to take a few points from Tezuka, have you? Well, I've looked at how she draws, but I haven't exactly asked for advice, no. Let's see here. He casually picks up a piece of graphite from my hand and lightly draws some faint, barely visible lines over my sketch to illustrate place that needs improvement. They're drawn lightly so that they can be marked off easily, or they can be referred to easily. I already feel frustrated about not seeing the obvious flaws before, but with a couple of careless seeming flickers on the wrist, Nomaya has made them plain as day. That's what experience does. Straightening up, he throws a sideways glance at the seat where Rin usually sits. Such a nostalgic feeling, almost like a bird flying from the nest. I'll miss Tezuka when she graduates. It begins from here, you know. Nearly makes my eyes a little misty. Do you really think she has a chance to make her big break with the exhibition? Nomaya turns, looks up from my sketch, adjusting his glasses. He rubs his chin, looking contemplative. Why not? It's not like she's going to be an overnight smash hit or anything. But getting the word out there is very important. Connections are pure gold. Maybe the most important thing to gain if she is to become an artist. Word of mouth is very powerful in these circles. Yep, because you don't know what the person is like over a screen. You need to know what kind of person that they are through a lot of face-to-face experiences. Because only then can you truly see what a person is like through a lot of face-to-face experiences. But even then you're still lacking stuff, which is what a relationship actually grasps. Is like the true face-to-face experience, living with someone, especially for the first time. And that's when it's either make or break for a relationship. She has some advantages, like her young age and technique, you know, the feet. People will be naturally curious about extraordinary things like that. So people are like, well, why don't you just use your hands for painting? And I'm like, if you look at the artist, your answer will be answered right away. His words have an unpleasant ring to them. Isn't that just exploit her disability to make her more popular? It sounds fishy. It's not exploiting. Now, it's not like that at all. Think of it from another perspective, like an artist. Would you rather have Tezuka hide herself completely from public view, as if her condition was something shameful? Some people would call it exploitation if we promote that aspect, or discrimination if we hide it. All considered, we're just being honest about it. And also it's a fascinating thing, being able to brush or do things with just your feet. But life has a habit of making you being forced to do it with a lack of hands and arms. There's nothing wrong with that. Right, my boy? I guess so. Brilliant. It's true that disability always have all sorts of implications in society, often nasty ones. Yeah, try applying for a job with a disability, because some people are just prejudiced like that. Like, you could have a qualification set that is equal to somebody else, but because A person has a disability but B person doesn't, the employer always chooses B because they're less of a nuisance. I'm sure Sei will handle her side of the issue with delicacy. I've known her since art school and she's most reliable. Why is she going so far for Rin's sake? Because it's you who asked? Oh, she has her own reasons too. Trust this old man. She's more kind-hearted than she looks. But don't let her know that I said that. Yeah, he gives me a big wonk and covers his mouth with his hand as if to push a remark back in. I remember the curious way Miss Tanaji looked at Rin almost the entire time during our visit in the gallery. It was like that woman was trying to imprint everything about her into her memory. Or maybe it was that Rin reminded her of something else. Perhaps early days. Mostly say simply adores young people with a passion for art. Her gallery specialized in this very thing, bringing up and coming talent to the public. It's a perfect fit for someone like Tezuka. I don't even know if she really wants to be a career artist, become a career artist, though. But I guess that'd be the logical next step. I don't have the faintest idea. Like they say, a teacher can only show the door. It's the student who has to walk through it. An old Thai saying, but still quite true. And it's absolutely true. He leaves to chat with the pair of second-year girls working on some watercolors. They could be walking on it for all he knows. Even though he said that cliched thing, it feels to me like Namaya is trying to prod Rin through a certain door in particular, but I can't blame him for that. It's not prod, it's a... well, I mean, it is prod, isn't it? I prefer poke rather than prod. A prod is a forceful poke. I literally shoved Rin towards that door with what my speech is about wasting opportunities and whatnot. Namaya feels like it's true for him to let Rin test her own wings. He has absolute confidence in this endeavour. I wonder why I can't shed the anxious feeling I have inside me. It shouldn't have anything to do with me. What feelings do you have for Rin then? Maybe I'm just bothered by exactly that. I really don't have any part in this, I would. I think you have more in this than you realise from Rin's perspective. I would like to be a part of Rin's life, and her a part of mine, like friends should be. That's what she called us. I wonder what she really meant. I feel like I'm so far apart from her, even when I'm not. It's the same as with Rin and Emmy. I can't understand her. What am I for her? I want to understand her, or I want to support her. I think, folks, that this is going to be a question which we'll answer in the next time. Thank you all so much for watching. This story is really evolving for a particular character, and I quite like that actually. Like, it's gone in places which I did not expect at all. It's going in quite deep topics, like to people's deep understanding of both themselves and in a way for each other as well, because we both have quite similar aspects when it comes to coming from a submerged endless cycle of nothingness to try and break that cycle and get out of your shell and become something which you're afraid of becoming. But within that afraidness is a challenge, and you should seek to complete that challenge, or go forth through that challenge and try and do as best you can, even if you are afraid the whole time. Because at the end of that tunnel, eventually, if you persevere enough, you will get what you want. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and see you all in the next time of Katawa Shoujo. I don't know how far we are until the very end of this route, whether it has like a bad end or a good end or a neutral end. Who knows? How many endings are there in per route? Maybe it's just even one, but with all these choices I doubt that it's just one end. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and take care of yourselves.